Sarah began scanning for the flame dancer in all directions, but found nothing. It was as if it had magically just disappeared. Even where there should have been raging flames at the wreckage of the transport due to the fuel and munitions on board, there was little more than a few flickering flames, no bigger than the fire atop a candle. Sarah kept looking around the area, flipping through scan after scan, but nothing. Sarah came across the comm line and said,
"It's all clear, sir. There is nothing here except what used to be the transport."
"Roger that, Private Snow,"
Norman replied, still running toward the impact site. Sarah began to look at the wreckage of the transport. It looked like someone had melted down some steel, then poured the lumpy mixture out on the ground. There was nothing to salvage. There were no bodies, just ash and molten slag. The realization began to set in that not only had this thing managed to sneak past them completely undetected, but also it outran her in a moving transport. It also managed to get through the echo shielding and incinerated the transport in under a minute. Sarah felt a fear that she had never felt before.
Even if I had made it, there was no stopping this thing. It was faster and more powerful than anything we have. It is a total monster, something completely unimaginable.
Sarah thought as she paced around the wreckage, trying to slow her breathing. The other troopers began to make it to the scene. Their biometrics show up on her visor. Heart rates above 160, blood O2 levels down to 92%, core body temperatures elevated. All of these were typical signs of a body under duress. As if the run to catch up to the flame dancer hadn't taken enough of a toll on them, they all seemed to have different reactions to the scene. One thing was clear: no one could believe what they were seeing. The reality of the situation was that their commander was gone. Their comrades were gone. Their invincible echo shielding was indeed penetrable. Their enemy could not be tracked. Worst of all, they were stranded in hostile territory. Sergeant Norman came across the comm line.
"Everyone, we start moving. We have to get clear of the area before that thing comes back for us. Ibarra, I want you to get a comm line out to HQ to get us a pickup."
"Yes, sir."
Ibarra replied as he moved away from everyone, trying to get a signal out to headquarters.
"Haraldson, I want you to take point."
Norman barked, pointing the direction he wanted Haraldson leading them.
"Yes, sir."
Haraldson replied, moving to the front of the formation and motioning for everyone to start moving.
"Frost, I want you to check the unit for injuries and ammo counts."
Norman ordered as the unit started to march away from the wreckage.
"Yes, sir."
Frost replied, as he began moving between the troopers, checking vitals and loadouts on his screen.
"Everyone else, I want a defensive formation and eyes in all directions."
Norman barked as he moved to the center of the formation. It was at this point that Sarah came to the realization of what it meant to be a trooper. Sarah looked at Norman and thought,
It is as if a switch has flipped. He went from trooper to commander just like that.
Norman now had a cold steel resolve to his voice, just like Commander Voss. At this point, Sarah knew that if she made it through this alive, then she would have to be able to handle situations like this without fear or uncertainty, just like Sergeant Norman was doing.
He just lost his commander and friend, yet he isn't showing it in the least. It is as if nothing happened. He is just going on as acting commander, and here I am scared half out of my wits.
Sarah thought to herself as she fell into formation at the rear. The troopers had formed a circle around Norman as they started to march. Then Frost came across the comm line.
"Unit 38, all present and accounted for. Injury and ammo count being forwarded to you now, sir."
"Excellent. Now move out."
Norman ordered as he opened the report. With their backs toward the molten slag that used to be their comrades, Unit 38 began to march. They marched toward the hardened blob of asphalt which used to be a road. Upon stepping on the asphalt, Sarah could feel the surface was still tacky as it ever so slightly held the boot of her battlesuit to it. Shortly thereafter, a comm line opened.
"We have received your transmission. We are sending the transport from Unit 43 to pick you up. We are transmitting the coordinates for your pickup now."
Headquarters stated with little sense of urgency. Upon looking at the coordinates, Sarah thought to herself,
This is a really long way for us to travel on foot. Our power suits may not make it that far on their batteries alone.
indeed, the coordinates for the pickup were quite far away. It would take the troopers a full 24 hours with no rest to make the rendezvous point.
Not to mention the pickup is in the opposite direction from our initial orders.
Sarah thought, checking the battery charge left on her suit.
At least the last known trajectory of the Flame Dancer is the opposite direction.
She thought, breathing a sigh of relief. It was at this point that Sarah knew she was in no shape to face this thing again. Meanwhile, in an undisclosed location far away from the scene and a few minutes prior to the initial distress call of the appearance of the Flame Dancer, a young girl's voice speaks out.
It's here!
A man then looks over at his computer.
What do you see, darling?
The little girl's voice responds.
The disturbance I told you about a few days ago has reappeared. This time, it is on the west coast of the U.S. in the state of California.
Just as you predicted, my darling. It is heading for a densely populated area.
The man responded as he moved over to watch the monitor. The girl's voice responded again.
It is only because you programmed me to be able to track the ghost locations, Master.
736. You flatter me, but you had to learn to do it on your own.
The man replied, shuffling in his seat toward the next computer screen over.
I guess I should get on the comm line with HQ and let them know that the anomaly is heading for Pasadena, California.
The man said, leaning back in his chair. The long-haired man picked up the phone and began making a phone call to headquarters. While dialing the phone, he pushed the empty noodle cup off his desk with his feet and propped his feet in its place. He then pulled a cigarette out of his pocket, a crinkled and damaged thing which had not been kept in any type of container, and lit it.
Yes, HQ, we found the host. It is heading to Pasadena, California.
The man said in a relaxed voice, blowing smoke into the air.
No, we don't have an ETA on when it will get there. It just reappeared on the scanner.
There was a brief pause as the man listened to the person on the other end of the phone. He then replied, slightly more annoyed.
No, I can't give you exact coordinates. It ain't that simple. This thing is moving fast. Plus, it keeps appearing and disappearing from the scanner. It seems to have some sort of cloaking mechanism.
The man paused again, listening to the phone, then clearly annoyed replied,
Yeah, right. Well, you just ignore our warning and see what Mr. Barron has to say about it.
The man then began shouting at the phone, the conversation quickly degrading into a shouting match which finally ended with the man standing up and slamming down the phone.
Did they not adhere to your warning, Master?
Sitting down and in a much calmer tone, the man replied,
They are going to be on alert for a distress call, but they ain't sending out a search team for another possible host without no proof.
The girl's voice then replied,
I am sorry, Master, but the program you developed is extremely complicated and hard for me. I just can't give better information yet, especially on this one that is moving around really fast and disappearing.
I am not mad at you, darling. You did the best you could. Those morons at HQ just don't seem to get how hard it is to track these things.
the man said. He then looked over at his computer and said,
So it has finally come.
taking another puff from his cigarette, he then said,
Darling, it's time for you to sleep.
I don't want to go to sleep.
the little girl's voice replied.
Why not?
The man asked, standing up and grinding his cigarette out on the table in a spot he had clearly done this many times before dropping the butt on the table.
Because when I sleep, I have bad dreams.
The little girl's voice replied.
Sorry, darling, but all little earls need their beauty rest.
The man replied, pushing his chair back under the table. The girl's voice then replied,
Please no, Master. I do not want to go to sleep.
Good night, my sweet princess.
the man said as he ran his fingers along the rim of his glasses, pushing a button on the computer. The little girl's voice then softly faded off into the distance. The man then moved over to another computer screen.
Computer, activate drone number 23765 and send it to the Pasadena area.
the man said as he took off his glasses and massaged his temples.
Activating Unit 2, 3, 7, 6, 5. Inputting coordinates. Dispatching.
The computer replied.
Computer, turn on drone video feed once it has cleared the compound.
The man said, putting his glasses back on. A few moments later, the computer responded.
Unit 2, 3, 7, 6, 5 video feed activated.
Computer, be and record into local hard drive.
The man said, shifting in his seat.
Data recording initiated.
The computer replied. The man then got up, stretched, and started walking to the doorway of his laboratory. He then pressed a button beside the door. The door slid open. Pshh. Standing at the door, the man brushed the cigarette ashes and crumbs off his shirt. He readjusted his long, wavy hair back into a proper ponytail. He then brushed off his pants, which hung loose on him, obviously about 2 sizes too large, held up by a belt tightened against his slender frame. He shook off his lab coat, which being a full-length lab coat was only about 6 to 8 inches from the floor because of his short frame of 167 centimeters. After he had determined himself clean from debris and as wrinkle-free as possible, he walked out the door.
Computer, lock up for me.
He said. Without even looking back, he walked down the hallway. During its infancy, Baron Midley began looking into what was later dubbed the ghost phenomena. It was Ivamir Byron's personal interest in the paranormal and the occult that led to him spending hundreds of billions of dollars on ghost research. Initially, to lead his inquiry of the ghost phenomena, he hired 2 scientists, Dr. John Harvold Kardanovsky and Dr. Felix Sims. It was only after almost a decade that Mr. Baron of the Pan American Sphere merged with the Midley Corporation of Geo-Asian Combine, forming Baron Midley proper. The 2 organizations had been jointly and covertly working together on projects for many years. It was at this time that the 2 companies moved their head of operations to the neutral zone, deeming it safer to have the majority of their assets away from the brewing conflict. Excerpt from The Founding of Byron Midley Part 1. Ivamir Byron's autobiography. A short time later, from a much farther away location, also a Baron Midley facility, an alarm began to sound. Sounding much like a watch beeping, the sound echoed into the ears of a young boy. The boy, who was of Asian descent, had dark brown hair and brown eyes. He wore thick-rimmed glasses and a lab coat. He seemed to be very excited by the alarm. The boy ran into the adjacent room from his bedroom, shouting,
"Computer home in on ghost signal."
The computer responded,
Ghost location pinpointed. North 34, 6, 56 by West 118, 9, 10, Pasadena, California.
The boy began frantically mashing buttons on the assortment of computers and monitors, turning some on while typing commands on others.
"This is great."
He said, joy overflowing from his face as he grinned ear to ear.
"My newest version of the ghost tracking system is working."
He shouted while throwing his hands up into the air in triumphant glee.
"Now to see if the command center has raised any alarm yet."
He thought to himself, staring intently at the many computer screens as he said,
"It looks like the only ghost report filed was about 9 minutes ago by Dr. Felix Sims. That bastard. How did he do it? He beat me to the punch again. How is he always finding these things mere minutes before I do?"
The boy shouted as he examined the location of the report and the location of the ghost sighting.
"I just don't get it. He is stationed almost as far as I am. Has he developed some technology that is better than mine? No. That can't be the case. Then how? Is he just that lucky? Possibly. I don't think that is it either. He has to have some kind of information that I don't, which is helping him locate these things. Although, Baron Midley only went on alert and didn't send any troopers. I guess that is because his locating method isn't as accurate as mine.
The boy thought to himself, leaning back in his chair and wrapping his left hand around his chin.
Either way, I must send out a sighting report as well to get the troopers mobilized.
The boy thought as he opened a comm line on his computer.
Computer activate voice modulator and lock picture frame as unknown. Secure the line, then contact headquarters.
He commanded, turning to face his computer on his right. The computer replied,
Activating voice enhancement. Activating voice distortion. Activating visual lock. File unknown. Securing commline channel 43 locked. Activating anonymous protocol. Activating top secret priority. Opening channel.
The boy then slowed his speaking to show no signs of excitement. He also spoke slowly to hide any trace of an accent or dialect and said,
"This is Dr. Archive. A very strong ghost signal has been picked up near the Pasadena, California area. Coordinates 34.156113 by -118.131943. Send a team to investigate. End transmission."
End transmission was also the key phrase to the computer to cut off the comm line, and it did so.
Well, that should have been enough of an alert time to at least keep things from going too bad too fast.
The boy thought to himself, leaning back in his chair. It was at that very moment that several alarms went off on several of the boy's computers. He began looking over the various monitors and thought,
What now? Whoa, what is with these readings? The sensors are completely off the charts.
the boy shouted, leaning forward to get a better view of the computer screens. No sooner than the sensors had gone off the charts, the signal from the sensor in the Pasadena area went out completely.
What is going on here? Computer launched drones and show satellite images of 34.156113 by -118.131943.
The boy yelled, frantically typing on separate computers with each hand. The computer replied,
Launching drones 291 through 304. Bringing up satellite footage.
What the heck is going on? The entire city of Pasadena is gone, leveled in an instant. This is unprecedented. We knew they were getting stronger, but this is on a whole nother level.
the boy shouted, looking over the satellite footage.
This can't be real.
He thought, with a grin coming to his face and laughter bubbling out of him as if he had gone mad.
I've got to ask for more funding. This is exactly what I needed to test my newest inventions. All I need now is for the militaries of the world and those worthless BM troopers to fail at killing this one. Then I can come in and save the day, thus proving my tech is best.
He thought to himself while grinning and giggling.
This is so perfect.
He shouted as he began frantically typing a message to Mr. Barron.